Well, good day and welcome to episode 33 of The Driving Force, presented by the Louisiana Transportation Research Center. My name is Todd Blunt. I'm joined today by my friend, colleague, and co-host, Garrett Wheat.
Good afternoon.
We are so excited that you've chosen to join us as we highlight really the trailblazing people and groundbreaking projects that are driving change in Louisiana transportation. For the past 40 years, LTRC has merged the resources of state government and Louisiana universities to identify, develop, and implement new technology to enhance many critical aspects of the transportation system here in Louisiana and beyond. Today, we are wrapping up a 5-part series featuring the fascinating work of LTRC's own Special Studies Research Group. So to close out this series, we are privileged to welcome Dr. Walid Alaywan, LTRC's Senior Structures Research Engineer. Dr. Alaywan has a wealth of experience in transportation research. We're so excited to hear firsthand about what he and his partners do on a day-to-day basis to improve our state's infrastructure, as well as the lives of those who use it to move from place to place across our state. So we'll take a quick break and come back to jump into this conversation with Walid. Well, welcome back to The Driving Force. We're grateful to welcome Dr. Walid Alaywan, LTRC's Senior Structures Research Engineer, to the show today. He's going to tell us more about what he is learning and doing in his structures-focused research right now. So welcome, Walid. We always begin by giving our guests an opportunity to share a little bit about themselves and their background. So Walid, tell us a little bit about your journey in life, education, transportation research, from where you got your start to what you've done over the years here at LTRC.
Thank you, Todd, for the invite. Thank you, Garrett. Little background about myself. I was born in Lebanon. It's a country in the Middle East. Finished my high school and started college over there. But due to the Civil War, I had to transfer. I came to the States. Now, since I was French educated, I thought coming to Louisiana would be the best thing for me. I was in for a rude awakening. The Louisiana Creole and the Cajun French, that mix really got me. What did I do? So I enrolled at Louisiana Tech University, got my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, finished my PhD coursework in civil engineering, and I got married. You know, going to school doesn't pay bills. So I had to step outside academia and work in the private sector. 10 years in the private sector, and then applied to work with the DOTD. I was first in road design.
Okay. Interesting.
I liked the group, but never liked the work I was doing. There were no computers. Everything was pretty much coordination with the consultants. I wasn't doing I wasn't part of the design group or design squads.
Sure.
So one time I saw a flyer on the floor, opening at LTRC. Here I am. I came to LTRC in the asphalt group. And I was doing testing of the asphalt cement binders and the components 2-3 years. And then the one who was doing these structures in the special studies decided to quit and go to LSU to teach. And Skip, then the director then, knew what my background was and moved me to the special studies. I stayed there, special studies, then moved down there to materials, spent 15 years, then moved back up to special studies.
Okay.
Now, originally, the special studies was a group where no study fall in any category, they dump it on special studies. I mean, geotech, concrete, asphalt, we know what it is, but special studies, environmental, ITS, safety, or what have you. I also taught courses at LSU and Southern University, statics, dynamics, strength of materials, reinforced concrete design. As a matter of fact, some of my students are currently working for DOTD. And one of them is working currently right now at LTRC.
That's great.
And had people working in bridge design. There were some of my students. And so back to working at LTRC in the structures area, which is my training.
Okay. So how many years total now at LTRC?
Well, I stayed 5 months at DOTD in road design. So I transferred back in December of 96.
Okay, so...
But starting June 1996, this June I will have finished 30 years.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'm waiting for the 30-year parking permit. Hopefully they still issue that.
I'm not sure. That's a good question. I think we need to make you one here.
I think because when I saw the previous director, Sam Cooper, when he had it 30 years, he had the thing on his windshield. I said, oh, I want me one.
Well, thank you for that, Walid. Before we dive too deep into some of the special projects we're working on, could you give like a big picture view of what you do in structures research? What kind of issues you and your partners investigate? Most people who are aware of DOTD think road and bridge, but structures is pretty unique. So
The what you call a structures group does not exist at LTRC. It was always been one individual. So in essence, I don't have structures lab. There's a geotech lab, asphalt lab, ITS lab, pavement lab, what have you. But for the research, they never thought it will grow from 1 to 2 projects to, there were times I had 12 projects and going at the same time. So they never thought about that. Always, it's a materials research center. It's not a structures research center.
Sure.
But they cater to DOTD needs by having a structures, capability, be it running small research project or going with other university professors and perform some structures research. What we do is pretty much 95% of the work is contract research. Whatever Louisiana lack for expertise, we have contracts with other states like TTI, Texas Transportation Institute. They do all the research pertaining to barriers and all that stuff for what we call the MASH, Manual for Highway Safety Hardware. We do also look for problems that bridge design or bridge maintenance are complaining about and try to solve it. Now, bridges in Louisiana, we have concrete, we have steel, we have timber. We try to improve the design process, solve a particular problem, or explore other materials, innovative materials that are sustainable materials. And we will talk about that later in part of that thing. So we manage projects, we develop the problem statement, we advertise, we review proposals, we recommend awarding this particular proposal to this particular person or agency. We monitor the work throughout the years. We try to make sure that the results are implementable, because that money that was spent did not come from nowhere. It was allocated for something to improve or to retrofit or to strengthen. If we don't implement the findings, that research, we do not do our job.
Okay. Well, in terms of specific projects, perhaps the most notable bridge-related event over the past quarter century, maybe in the whole nation, but certainly in Louisiana, was the destruction and the subsequent rebuilding of the I-10 twin-span bridge between New Orleans and Slidell after Hurricane Katrina. What is your team doing to monitor the structural health of the new bridge, and can you describe some of the processes and procedures that you use?
Okay, just a little bit before I talk about that.
Sure.
When I started working with structures, I had good interaction with the FHWA representative for Louisiana.
Okay.
And one time he said, Walid, do you know there are some programs here where we pay for research? I said, I'm not aware of that. He said, I'm surprised DOTD was not involved in that. So what is that? He said, we have the IBRC, Innovative Bridge Research and Construction. You submit an application and you give us a candidate bridge and location,
like a project,
and we will review and assess, and you could get up to $400,000.
Okay.
But the thing is, we need some implementation. You don't do the research and they say that's a report. No, we improve the infrastructure and what have you. We need results. So I started doing into that, and then all of a sudden we have all in all, I was able to get about $3 million worth of research from that program. And the follow-up one was the IBRD, Innovative Bridge Research and the deployment. So each one was mandated to give money to be spent on improving bridges and safety on highways and roadways. What you mentioned about is the I-10 twin span bridge monitoring. The structural health monitoring is like when you go to the doctor, you have an ailment. He would hook some strain gauges on you, those things, with the glue or what have you, and he monitors your blood pressure, he monitors your EKG and all that stuff. That will tell him when you look at the drawings and the results, hey, you got a problem, you need to do this, do that, do that. This is what we do with the structural health monitor. We monitor the structural health of any particular bridge that is a major structure, and we are concerned if something happens, the results,
Okay.
loss in the structure, loss of life, and this delay in transporting goods and services from one part of the country to another.
Sure.
And I-10 goes, from Florida to California.
Yep.
This is not a local highway. So what we do is that we put some strain gauges on different locations, different parts of the members. We put fiber optic sensors. We measure temperature, we measure deflection, and we will watch. And those are accessible immediately. If you start see a pattern of deflection that's not warranted or stresses or much more than what you designed for, you gotta do something immediately. You don't wait till it's time to inspect it every 2 years, or somebody pick up the phone and call you, hey, we got a problem with this bridge, can somebody come look at it? We, ahead of time,
Real time.
we do that. That's what we call structural health monitoring. Now, this one, it was a major structure.
Oh, yeah.
And what we did is there were really, for that study, there were two objectives for that. There was a short-term objective and a long-term objective. The short-term objective, the project was designed, the bridge was designed using different softwares and what have you. I wanted to make sure that our design really worked. So we collect immediate data. But for the long term, is we're concerned about the structure and locations where you worry about barges impacting the bridge. When you have an impact, what happened to those piles or the battered piles that are there? So what we do is we couldn't instrument the whole bridge. It's so many
Yeah, it's a lot.
miles, and you cannot run hundreds of feet of data, and you have to have signals, and you have to have cell phones here. So we picked a particular location that bridge design felt comfortable that this is really, we need to monitor that.
Okay.
And the PI slapped some strain gauges and fiber optics and stuff, and we have data acquisition system and all that stuff, and you could monitor. And also there was a concern, what would happen when this is an evacuation route, what would happen when we have overloads and what have you, and a lot of other environmental loads and stuff like that. So it was a successful project, and this one was funded by the IBRD Innovative Bridges. I think, and the state matched also another 400,000 with the 400. Was able to get another 400,000 from the Fed. We hit almost $1.5 million in research on that study, and the design was successful and performance was phenomenal. But of course, all those bridges have to be inspected periodically. Depends on this. Depends on 2 years or 4 year or immediate or special inspection or what have you.
One aspect of structures that you and your team investigate quite often is the viability of various construction materials. You completed a study several years ago using fiber reinforced polymer to build a bridge deck. Again, not an engineer, so can you first kind of talk to that a little bit, what that is, and then what issue are y'all trying to address using this material? And then looking for future bridge construction in Louisiana, what does that kind of look like?
That particular bridge is something unique. It was in, I believe it was in Assumption Parish, if I remember, Pier Port Bayou. And there was a small bridge. It has a steel deck grating on it, and it's over the waterway. And no, it's I think it's a vertical lift bridge. Periodically, based on what I learned, it was lifted one time in the last 30 years.
Okay.
So it's not real, but it's controlled by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and you have to lift it, what have you. But what happened is a lot of people go fishing over there and go boating and stuff, and they drive back on that bridge, and all that salt water is dripping on it. And with time, all those metal bars making that deck grating started corroding and falling off. So one time there was a guy on his bicycle. He was riding his bike, and he got in an accident because his front wheel just tipped into that gap.
Oh, wow.
So they started welding plates on that deck, hoping it became very ugly. And just every time when you drive on a bridge that has welded plates, you could have some
Bumpy.
noise and discomfort and stuff. So we decided, let's go ahead and remove it. And somebody from private sector approached us with the idea of using balsa wood. And there was this balsa wood material is always used in marina, like the top of boats and what have you. So he said, well, let's use balsa wood here. And I talked to him and said, look, wait a second, balsa wood, this is a very brittle material to us. What do you mean? But he said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to just have different layers of balsa wood glued together, and we're going to draw a vacuum on it and resin infuse all the voids in it.
That's
And we're going to put an FRP surface, act like a friction course. Now,
so when it gets wet, it doesn't get too
yeah,
soft.
and also this one was very innovative because nobody ever in the United States came up with the idea of balsa wood deck. So what happens, since this one was innovative, you have to go through trial and errors, and your product may not be optimum as far as thickness of the deck because we don't know how the thing, can we cut off another layer next time? Can we use 2, 3 layers instead of 5? Can we optimize on the thickness, on the performance, or what have you? So it was experimental and it was very innovative. Now, they did that, and it was placed there, and we did also what we talked about, structural health monitoring.
Right.
We put strain gauges on it, and to measure the deflection and a lot of other things to look for. It did well, but the problem is since the deck was not manufactured by automatic manufacturer, they were cut and sewn by a particular individual. That was a problem as far as meeting all the gaps in the dimension and stuff. Because you have to fine tune it for next time when it's automated. The deck worked well, but there have been a lot of complaints by the locals over there. Is there a loud popping noise at night, and they start getting scared and calling the mayor in that town and stuff. So DOTD sent somebody to. There was no noise, but only at night it gets aggravated because everything's quiet and you can hear it. It turned out that one of the part of the deck was not properly adjusted and glued well, lost contact with the steel girders.
Until somebody drove over it.
So it was a political decision to remove the deck and go back the way we were.
Okay.
So I mean, it's an idea that worked, but it was first time was done. First time you're not gonna get the best product.
Learning curve.
So, but it was very innovative, and also balsa wood is very sustainable material. It's just you got in Brazil and other states, other countries. Just have bamboo trees and stuff, and balsa, and they just. This one also was funded by the IBRC program, $400,000. It was a professor from LSU that did the study.
Well, continue to talk about common issues faced by bridges across Louisiana. The impact of water. You mentioned salt water in this particular project, but think about the girders and the cables that are often submerged. You and your team did a study evaluating the durability of some alternative materials, including post-tension steel rods and carbon fiber composite cables. What did you learn from this project?
Well, this is a situation where you have a bridge that I don't know why when they built that bridge, the bottom of the girder was in complete contact with the water.
Okay.
So water seeped through. Whether you have pre-stressed tendons or you have regular rebars, they're not friendly with water, or water is not friendly, it's not merciful with rebars.
Yeah.
So corrosion, and when you start having corrosion and popping of the concrete around the rebar, more corrosion will ensue and stuff.
Yeah.
So things get worse, and the bridge loses its functionality because part of it is corroded. I mean, it lost the concrete and what have you. Something needs to be done. So it was the idea of using post-tension rods. What you do is made out of FRP, fiber reinforced polymer.
Okay.
What you do is you put them on the outside or underneath, and you put a tension on them,
And tighten it.
the jack, fix the bridge without having to do any local damaging or repair of the damage in the concrete, and breaking up getting the strands out and what have you. So everything was externally done. And it worked well. And this is an idea that's not only in Louisiana, it's pretty much applied everywhere, even in the world, anywhere.
Really?
Oh yeah, because external strengthening of a bridge using post-tension FRP.
So you're not having to destroy anything to fix it.
It's externally.
Yeah.
And you could very easily inspect it because it's externally. If something's wrong with it,
You see it. Well, as we kind of wrap up this portion of the episode, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners about your work?
There is a concern here in Louisiana because after Hurricane Katrina, a lot of College of Engineers shut down. We used to have more than 1 or 2 universities participating in our research program at LTRC, not just the structures, all areas. Like, for instance, speaking of the structures area, Tulane shut down, UNO does not participate, Lafayette barely. So what we have is LSU and a faraway university, which is Louisiana Tech. And Louisiana Tech doesn't have as many staff as LSU in the structures area. So in essence, pretty much we are limited to what we have available here. Now, when we have a project, when we feel like the local expertise is not available, that will make us look outside the state of Louisiana. This is Louisiana funds going somewhere else instead of being spent on Louisiana work, on Louisiana people, on Louisiana product. Unfortunately, I don't see any solution to that. It's a concern. Now, Lafayette is growing up a little bit, but we haven't yet seen any participation in the structures program. I'm sure all those universities are involved in different areas, but as far as structure is concerned, I'm pretty much stuck to 1 or 2 universities, if the local expertise is available. If not, like for instance, when we do any testing on bridge barriers or bridge railing or what have you, or medium barriers, we go with TTI, Texas Transportation Institute, because they have been known for doing that for years. We don't have the local expertise. We don't have the agency that does that work day in and day out. I mean, you need to have a lot of work coming to you to justify funding the staff and the ongoing of the research. That's why we sub with TTI. As a matter of fact, we have a project with them right now. And when there's a hurricane and you want to close a particular feeder to any interstate, how do you close it? You cannot put somebody there waving to people, hey, go somewhere else. You put a device, and that comes down, comes up, and when the hurricane or that particular season is over, you just remove the device or put it to the side. So what we're doing right now is we do some live load testing. We take a car and ram it with the device and see what would happen if somebody else was in it. That vehicle that we ran the device through will be instrumented, structural health monitoring, to measure the deflection of different part of the component of the vehicle and the damage to the dummy inside.
Oh, yeah.
So if the guy's head goes through the windshield,
You don't want that.
that device did not do a good job. But hopefully, I'm very optimistic that maybe one day the structures research faculty in Louisiana will just get bigger.
Dr. Gopu even talked about just the sheer number of instructors in other states, specifically in Texas, compared to Louisiana.
Well, Texas, is a whole big country by itself.
You're right.
I mean, they have the money, they have the funds. Unfortunately, when you cross the Louisiana to Texas, the quality of the road changes. They have the money. When you have the money, you always maintain. The problem is with Louisiana, the lack of funds. You just go by priority. We cannot maintain all our structures on a weekly or monthly or yearly basis. It's like we prioritize which one need to be addressed first, and then we worry about the second and third one.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it's a problem. But Louisiana is not the only state that's having this problem. Other states as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Walid, for joining us today to share about the important work you do and how it's positively impacting the lives of transportation system users across Louisiana. Garrett and I always learn a lot in these conversations. Today's no exception. So we're really grateful for the skilled and hardworking engineers and researchers like you.
Thank you, Todd. By the way, I just always has something about numbers and math. I always did mentally. I did multiplication in my head and stuff, and help teachers in classroom when they don't have a calculator. And it just dawned on me that this podcast is number 33.
Yeah.
And the two of you work in section 33.
That's right.
So can I just Wait a second, podcast 33, section 33.
I like it. Well, before we go, we do want to have a little bit of fun with you. Garrett has a few final, what we call lightning round questions. Don't think too hard about these, just to help our listeners get a sense of a little bit more about who you are and what you like. So, Garrett, take it away.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, these are just for fun. Can you share maybe one of your favorite under-the-radar or off-the-beaten-path restaurants in and around the Baton Rouge area?
I always went to illegal burritos.
Yeah.
Got to a point where the employees knew me, and I always ordered the same thing. So every time I walked in, while I'm standing in line, I'm told, "Hey, your order is ready." But also, being from the Middle East, I like to go to Surab's, El Basha. But this one does not mean I'm not open to pizza.
Yeah.
Or hamburgers
I like
and
pizza.
all that stuff. Yeah. Now, also the illegal burritos. Now they have the lit pizza, which is right next to it, I believe, on Blue
Yeah.
Bonnet. But it's good food. And
Have you found a place that offers really good kanafa?
as far as the kanafa is concerned, and all those homemade back Middle Eastern food, when I was single, I just kind of just missed that, couldn't eat that. But then when I got married to one of my relatives from overseas, and she's here now. And I was talking about the kanafa and the stuffed squash and all that stuff, and the falafel and all that. So she goes, "Oh, don't worry about that. I'll make them for you." So that's why sometimes when my wife makes some sweet, I'll bring some here. Mahmoud, you know. Also, she learned how to make gingerbread, which is not a Middle Eastern kind of food. But the kanafa, I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm eating something from back home, no longer eating something and reminiscing about eating it back home. But, yep, maybe I should bring some kanafa one day here.
We would love that.
Okay.
Next question. Can you share either one of your recent favorites or something that's on your reading list for your next time you travel?
If I were to travel, I'd like to visit the East Coast. Way up.
Oh, yeah.
Massachusetts, New York, Vermont, you know, all those. Virginia, West Virginia. My structures teachers at Louisiana Tech was from West Virginia.
Okay.
So he told us a lot of nice stories over there. And plus, those are historic states, you know, where a lot of things happened.
Definitely.
And a lot of stuff, yeah. But I used to watch a lot of TV shows, mostly sci-fi. Stargates, the X-Files. It's now showing on
They're back.
It's now on Pluto for free. You could watch it, you know, X-Files, Stargate, and Star Trek, with all its different characters and versions and stuff. I'm not good for the romantic movies. I don't find any thrill in that.
Thank you so much again for your time and everything you've shared with us today. This has been a really great series with all the special studies. I know Garrett and I have enjoyed it. We've learned a ton through our conversations with your group. Confident our listeners have as well. We're going to step away once more before we come back to close things out. That's a wrap on episode 33 of The Driving Force, presented by the Louisiana Transportation Research Center. You can learn more about what's happening at LTRC on a daily basis by visiting us online at ltrc.lsu.edu or on social media through Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We encourage you to like, follow, and subscribe to our channels on each of these platforms to stay up to date. Again, if you heard some things in this episode you'd like to explore further, you can explore the wide variety of published work from Dr. Alaywan and our entire special studies group. These are available on our LTRC website under the Publications tab. We'll link to these reports in today's show notes as well. That's a wrap on this series. We've got more great stuff for you on The Driving Force. We hope you'll join us for our next episode as we turn our attention, and yours, to another important and interesting aspect of our work as a Department of Transportation. Until then, we are your hosts, Garrett Wheat and Todd Blunt, and we thank you so much again for joining us today. Drive safely out there.